Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video I will give you a short guide for the Battlefield 5 practice range where you can test weapons and vehicles and practice your aim, alone or with up to 3 friends. The practice range is based on the Hamada map and is parted into 3 areas: the mortar trail, the shooting trail and the open range. You always start with the Sturmgewehr 1.5 as your primary weapon, the Ruby pistol as your sidearm and the medical crate and syringe as default gadgets. You can't change the sidearm or the gadgets, but you are able to swap the primary weapon at different weapon racks of the open range. To make playing with friends more interesting, you can also turn on friendly fire and test your shooting skills against each other. If you don't want this, you can just shoot targets, either in the shooting lanes of the open range or at the shooting trail. Just follow the sign at the main spawn point and choose whatever you like to play. Head left at the spawn to get to the mortar trail, a little test circuit for the Kübelwagen, where you can get a feel for the vehicle and practice road kills by running over targets. Pull the lever in front of the gate and the vehicle will appear. Once you drove to the starting area, a countdown will begin that is extended with every target you successfully run over. Your score that shows up on the bottom of the screen is based on the amount of targets that met your bumper. To leave the mortar trail, you have to wait until the time runs up and you redeploy. When you spawn in and head straight to the ruins, you will find the shooting trail. It gives you the ability to test the STG-44, the FG-42, the Sten SMG and the Lee Enfield at different ranges. Just pull the lever, pick up the STG-44 next to you and go to the starting area. The announcer's voice will guide you through this wave-based mode. The goal is to take out as many pop-up targets as you can. Headshots get rewarded with 5 points while body shots only get 1 point. So be sure to hit that painted AT mine on top of the target. The shooting trail starts with 4 introduction rounds in which you have to pick up every weapon and destroy a few targets. After the introduction, the waves will have a ticket counter which is extended with every target you destroy. There are 3 different waves that will be played randomly. The description on the screen shows you which wave comes next, so be sure to choose the right weapon before it starts. There is a rapid fire wave with many targets right in front of you. Perfect for the Sten, STG-44 or FG-42. The long-range wave is made to practice your sniper skills with the Lee Enfield. And last but not least, there is the hunt wave. Targets won't appear right in front of you and all at the same time. You have to find and destroy them one after the other. Unfortunately, you can't choose a specific wave to play or other weapons than the default ones. So if you want to practice a specific range or weapon, you have to go to the open range. To leave the shooting trail, you also have to wait until the time runs up and you redeploy. Head right at the spawn to get to the open range and pull the lever to activate it. The range will be parted into 4 areas: the airfield, the shooting exercises, the shooting lanes and the vehicle practice. You can also teleport to 3 of the 4 areas with the switches you can find in the shelter to your left. There are also switches on the different practice areas that will bring you back home to the shelter. Near the teleport switches you can also find a switch for friendly fire. Once it's activated, a hint shows up on top of the screen for every player on your practice range. You can then practice your skills with your friends or play funny grenade games. If you prefer to practice alone, this switch doesn't matter for you. The airfield can be found right below the teleport switches. You can choose between 2 different planes, a Spitfire and a Stuka bomber, to get a better feel for the skies. Once you're up in the air, other planes will appear as air targets. With a bomber, you can also destroy ground targets. Unfortunately, you can't practice with more than these 2 planes or with different loadouts and specializations. But if you don't get into planes regularly, this is a good way to get a basic feel for them. When you can practice with planes on the range, you can, of course, also practice with tanks and other ground vehicles. There are 2 Kübelwagen and 2 tanks you can test. Just make a choice with the wheel and get into it. The available tanks are the British Churchill and the German Flakpanzer. When you choose the Churchill, drive down the road to practice your aim on some ground targets. When you prefer the Flakpanzer instead, more air targets will appear that you can shoot at. If you're not interested in practicing your vehicle or plane skills, you should go to the shooting exercises where you can do aim and angle practice. In these areas you can also find weapon racks to practice with a weapon of your choice. Note that you can only customize the weapon's appearance and the sight or scope, but not specializations. All weapons on the practice range are unspecialized. The aim practice is a wall where targets appear in different locations. Once you hit them, they disappear and reappear in a new location. You can set a difficulty with a wheel on the table, which impacts how quickly targets appear and disappear. To start the practice, pull the lever. A counter on the bottom of the screen shows you your current streak and is reset once you couldn't hit a target in time or you leave the marked area. In the angle practice, you stand in the middle of a circular trench and targets will appear somewhere around you. Once you hit them, they disappear and reappear in a new location as well. Use the wheel on the table to set the difficulty and start your practice by pulling the lever. The streak counter shows you how many targets you destroyed and is also reset once you couldn't hit a target in time or you leave the marked area. If you want to practice on mid and long range, go down to the lanes of the shooting practice. Here you can find targets on railroad tracks that you can set to different ranges between 25 and 100 meters. It's the perfect place to test bullet spray and recoil patterns of different automatic weapons or to practice with the sniper rifles. Just choose a weapon at the rack and set the range with a wheel on the table. The counter on top of the screen will show you how many body and headshots you dealt to the target. The practice range in general is a pretty good place to practice your aim, learn how to handle different weapons and the basics of vehicle and air combat. It is also the perfect place if you want to test different settings or find the right aim sensitivity. But there are also a few things that I miss and hope they will be added in the future, such as more planes and vehicles to test, different vehicle and soldier loadouts, and testing different weapon specializations. But besides this, the practice range is a really good and necessary addition to Battlefield 5, and I would highly recommend every new player to visit it. And that's all so far. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, give it a thumb up and subscribe to the channel for more Battlefield content. Until then, thanks for watching. I am the Catwoman and you are awesome.